Okay, now let's discuss the Surangama Sutra. Sakyamuni Buddha told Ananda, if the absence of light is called not seeing, then you should not be able to see darkness. But if you can see darkness, though there is no light, how can it be said there is no seeing? Ananda, if in darkness one cannot see brightness and call it not seeing, then right now in brightness you cannot see darkness. Should this be also called not seeing? In this way, both states would be called not seeing. Furthermore, if the two, brightness and darkness, displace each other, it is not that your seeing nature temporarily ceases in between. Thus, it is clear that both are still seeing. How could it be called not seeing? Therefore, Ananda, you must now understand. When you see brightness, the seeing is not the brightness. When you see darkness, the seeing is not the darkness. When you see emptiness, the seeing is not the emptiness. When you see obstruction, the seeing is not the obstruction. Accomplishing the four meanings. Furthermore, you should understand, when seeing perceives seeing, the seeing is no longer ordinary seeing. True seeing transcends the act of seeing. It cannot be grasped by seeing itself. How can you speak of it in terms of causation, spontaneity, or composite phenomena? You, the Sravakas, are narrow-minded and shallow in wisdom, unable to penetrate the pure and ultimate reality. Now I admonish you, reflect thoroughly upon this. Do not grow weary or negligent on the wondrous path to enlightenment. This is based on what was talked about last time. Sakyamuni Buddha asked Ananda, why did you see? Why do you see? For the worldly people, what is the so-called seeing? That's because there is sunlight or moonlight or lamplight. That's why you can see. But without the lights of the sun, the moon, or lamps, then you will not be able to see. That's what Ananda said. And Sakyamuni Buddha started to speak, to admonish him. If you can't see the light, that's not seeing. When you can't see, then you should not be able to see darkness either. And that is also not called not seeing. When you see darkness, you cannot see brightness. Why? Because when you see darkness, you don't see brightness. Do you understand or not? So what is not seeing? Because there is no light. Is that really not seeing? Because even without light, you can see darkness. But when you see darkness, you cannot see brightness. So what is not seeing? In brightness, you cannot see darkness. But in darkness, you cannot see brightness. There are two phenomena. It should be not seeing. So, if the brightness and darkness mix with each other, is your seeing in between? But it is clear that both are still seeing. How could it be called not seeing? Actually, you can still see. Why do you say it's not seeing? So that's why, Ananda, you should know. When you see brightness, the seeing is not the brightness. When you see darkness, the seeing is not the darkness. When you see emptiness, the seeing is not the emptiness. When you see obstruction, the seeing is not the obstruction. There are four kinds of meanings in this. This way, you should know. When seeing perceives seeing, the seeing is not seeing. So the seeing is apart from seeing. So you really don't see. So how can you speak of it in terms of causes and conditions, or dependent arising, or self-arising, or composite phenomena? So composite phenomena is the mix of brightness and darkness. And self-arising is like that's how it is. And dependent arising is because you see brightness, that's why you cannot see darkness. And you see darkness, you cannot see brightness. So we also don't understand what Sakyamuni Buddha says. Now he's reprimanding. He said, Ananda, how can you speak of it in terms of dependent arising, self-arising, or composite phenomena? So you can't say that the wondrous luminous true mind is dependent arising, self-arising, or composite phenomena. And then Sakyamuni Buddha started to reprimand you, the Sravakas, the practitioners of the lesser vehicle, are narrow-minded and shallow in wisdom, lowly. You cannot penetrate the pure and ultimate reality. You cannot understand. Now I admonish you, reflect thoroughly upon this. Do not grow weary or negligent on the wondrous path to enlightenment. Don't grow weary or lazy and stop on the path to enlightenment. That's what this passage is about. I really don't like to follow the Sutra Text, but I have to. The seeing of ordinary people is because of the sunlight. That's why you can see. Because of the moon and because of the lamps or lights. That's just a typical mindset, and also Ananda too. But the seeing spoken by Sakyamuni Buddha has no form, names, or phenomena. And it's not the phenomena of darkness. It's not that you can see because of light, or because of darkness, or because of emptiness, or because of obstruction. It's not related to any of those. The true wondrous luminous true mind is ever present, and it has no form and phenomena. It cannot be put into words. Ananda kept asking and Sakyamuni Buddha kept explaining, but even after so long, he still could not understand. Okay, let's continue to read. Ananda said to the Buddha, he started to cry again. Sakyamuni Buddha, as the Buddha has taught us about causes and conditions, as well as self-existing nature, and about compounded and uncompounded phenomena, my mind remained unenlightened. Now hearing that perceiving seeing indicates that is not ordinary seeing, I feel even more confused and lost. So I earnestly beseech your great compassion to bestow upon us the eye of wisdom and reveal to us the luminous purity of the enlightened mind. Having said this, he bowed with tears of reverence, ready to receive the sacred teachings. So Ananda told Sakyamuni Buddha, like us, Sravakas, when we talk about causes and conditions, that's not right. And when we say it's self-arising, that's not right either. Talking about compounded phenomena, it's not right. And talking about uncompounded phenomena, also not right. So even after listening to that, the mind is still not enlightened. And now, hearing Sakyamuni Buddha talking about seeing, perceiving seeing is not seeing. So even if you see brightness, darkness, emptiness, obstruction, it is still not seeing. So perceiving seeing is not seeing. Now that adds to the confusion even more. So now hearing up to here, everybody still not understand, and Grandmaster too. So seeing is not seeing. So whether you see brightness, darkness, the sky or the walls, You have seen all this, but actually you still have not seen. Ananda said, what's going on? He's even more confused. Sakyamuni Buddha, please grant us your compassion and bestow upon us the wisdom eyes and teach us so that we can have a pure heart and mind and truly attain the wondrous luminous true mind. After saying this, Ananda wept with tears, bowed with reverence, and wished that Sakyamuni Buddha would give teaching so that we can be enlightened right away. That's what this piece means. Question and answer. Like today, you ask Grandmaster, what is the wondrous luminous true mind? What is the true understanding of the mind and seeing the Buddha nature? What is enlightenment? If someone asks you, what is enlightenment? What is the wondrous luminous true mind? And what is the true understanding of the mind and seeing the Buddha nature? If they ask you, then you do this. It's right when you don't say anything. As soon as you open your mouth, that would be wrong. I've said it at the Rainbow Temple, because this thing is independent of all forms and phenomena. No names, no phenomena. It's too profound. And someone told me, I know, that's like telepathy, but that's a name. Those are all just name, like, oh, Anuttaraya Samyak Sambodhi. But that's too, it's just a name. Anyone knows the unexcelled right equality and right realization. Anyone can describe the Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi. So the discussion about this, where did the Surangama Sutra come from? Some people say that Surangama Sutra came from the Tantric Buddhism division. Why? Because of the Surangama mantra. And some people say it's from the three treatise school, because they kept discussing. Belongs to the 12 doors, the treatise to 12 doors, to the middle way, and 100 treatises. Those are the three treatises schools. And some people say, no, it is Yogacara. It talks about consciousness. So consciousness only school. The eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind. And then deeper. Mola consciousness, alaya. And then the immaculate consciousness. And some people say it's like Zen Buddhism, but it's not Zen Buddhism. And lastly, they say it comes from the Tantric Buddhist school because of the Surangama mantra. The sutra is very difficult to expound. So who asked me to expound on the sutra? Who asked me? It turned out to be very difficult. If I knew who asked me to do this, there's nothing I can do anyway. I cannot cast a spell on it. But thinking about it, it's myself who wanted to talk about it. This sutra is quite troublesome. From the beginning to the end, it's just a discussion of Ananda and Sakyamuni Buddha discussing the wondrous luminous true mind, about the Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi, discussing enlightenment and the unexcelled right equality and right realization. So this is the most profound. So it's very difficult to expound. Not like worldly dharma about loyalty, uprightness, about honor, glory, about cause and effect, causes and conditions, about karma, also about naturalness or self-arising or compounded or composite phenomena. But in Surangama Sutra, it talks about one and only. There is no others, no second ones, no others, just one. And this one has no forms, no names, no phenomena. Let me see if there are some funny jokes. The patient told the doctor, "Doctor, am I getting a depression?" And the doctor said, "No. That's a normal situation from regular work. Depression is an illness, and OCD is also an illness. We say OCD can kill people, but depression can make you kill yourself. So we must live in the middle of depression and OCD." And what is that called? It's called a compounded phenomena, or the middle way. So don't be so compulsive, but don't also be so depressed. Just in the middle. That's called the middle way. So you need to control your own moods, not too high and not too low. At that time, a world-honored one, out of compassion for Ananda and the great assembly, prepared to expound the great Dharani and the wondrous path of samadhi practice. He said to Ananda, "Although you have strong memory and have heard much, your mind has not yet penetrated the subtle contemplative illumination of samatha. Now listen attentively. I will explain clearly to you, so that you and all future beings still bound by defilements may attain the fruit of Bodhi. Ananda, all sentient beings transmigrate through the cycle of existence due to two inverted and deluded views which arise in the moment and propel the wheel of karma. What are these two views? First, the deluded view arising from individual karma, and second, the deluded view shared collectively by beings." So we talked about reincarnation earlier. At this time, Sakyamuni Buddha was very compassionate to Ananda and the great assembly. So prepared to expound the great Dharani. What is Dharani? It's mantra. So the Drasilamu's mantra. That's the mantra of Drasilamu. Guru Padmasambhava's mantra, or true words. He is about to expound the great Dharani, which is the Surangama mantra. How to enter samadhi. The wondrous cultivation path of samadhi. It is really marvelous. He said to Ananda, "Although you have strong memory and have heard much, it's just that you heard more than others, but your mind has not yet penetrated the subtle contemplative samadhi. So when you enter samadhi, when you observe or contemplate on your own mind or everything, you're still very far from it. So now listen attentively. I will explain clearly to you, so spiritual cultivators can attain the Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi. Ananda, all sentient beings transmigrate through the cycle of existence due to two inverted and deluded views. So all incorrect views, it's different from the right views. That's why they are called deluded views. They don't have the right view. Worldly people are inverted and deluded, which arise in the moment and propel the wheel of karma. And because you have inverted views, you have inverted thoughts, and then you created wrong acts, and then you create karma, and then you have reincarnations. Like I said, there are two kinds. One is rising from individual karma, and second is shared collectively by beings, so created by everyone. Generally speaking, famine, wars, epidemic, wars, that's collective karma. Famine, people in that part of the area have nothing to eat. That's also collective karma. Epidemic, or like COVID-19, when it was severe, many people died, and that's due to collective karma. And what is the individual karma? Karma created by the individuals. Sakyamuni Buddha said there are two kinds of karma. Why does one transmigrate in the rebirth cycle? It's either due to individual karma or collective karma. That's why you have to have the right view, right thoughts, and the so-called Eightfold Noble Path, and the 37 aids to enlightenment, the 4 right exertions, 4-fold mindfulness, 5 powers, 5 roots, 7 branches of realization, and Eightfold Noble Path. If you walk the Eightfold Noble Path, then you have the right thought. But if you don't walk the Eightfold Noble Path, then that's incorrect. That's incorrect thought. We will continue next time. The Surangama Sutra is not very easy to expound. It's just like writing a thesis. Some people say it's a debate, but it's not. It's the questions asked by someone who does not know, and Sakyamuni Buddha answered. But Ananda just heard and listened, but he did not cultivate. He had no results from his cultivation. Like spiritual cultivation has to enter samadhi. Only then it's called the true spiritual cultivation. The single-pointedness is something you have to experience. And you need to experience it from the single-pointedness in samadhi.